Welcome back to Girls Next Level. It is the holiday season.
Tis the holiday season.
So we are excited. We're extra festive today.
Yeah, speaking of holidays, Christmas carols and stuff like that, did you know, and I guess they did this a couple years ago, but I just figured it out, that John Legend and Kelly Clarkson changed the words to that song,
The Bill Cosby creepy song.
Baby It's Cold Outside.
Yeah, I didn't know they changed the words, but I knew there was like an uproar over that song.
They're like your body, your choice in there and stuff like that.
Oh my God,
but I
funny.
really wish you would stay, kind of thing. And I was like, wait, did they change the words to this?
That is so funny.
Yeah, I had no idea.
It needed an update because every Christmas for like the past 5 years, Twitter was like ablaze with how creepy that song was.
It's funny. Forever, I've loved that song, and I didn't even think anything of it. I did think of it like, wow, you know, it's really pushy, but like at the same time, like I just liked it. Mm-hmm. And then when the uproar came up, I was like, oh dang, they're gonna cancel this song, and I really like it still.
Yeah.
But I get it. I get why they're doing it. And then now they just redid the words, and I'm like, okay, cool, we all win.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, I wanted to get you this as a Christmas present, and I am gonna tell you what it is now because I can't now. Olive Garden did PJs.
What?
Yeah, like onesie zip-up PJs for like the whole family.
I would
and they have like the
totally wear
salad
that.
and breadsticks on it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm ordering these for Holly and I. So I click immediately as soon as I see the email. I click on it to email it. They're sold out in adults. And I'm like, damn. And I was like, oh wait, kids, extra large. I bet that fits us. So I put two in my cart, and then I go just to check the sizes real quick. Go back, sorry, sold out. That fast.
You know what annoys me is how everything sells out these days. Like, I swear when people put out merch and stuff, they just don't do enough. I'm like, why don't you just make enough?
Yeah, why does this have to be a limited quantity thing?
Yeah, it's weird.
But it makes me want them even more now.
I know.
I'm so bummed. Like, because the child extra larges would have fit us.
I want to see what they look like now. That sounds so cute.
They were like green, like dark green. They have like salads and breadsticks on them.
Oh my God, yeah, we need those for sure.
Oh my gosh. I thought they were so cute. Anyway, we can get on to actual holiday stuff now if you want.
How has your holiday prep for this year been?
Good and bad. I've already started on my baking, and we eat half the stuff, and then I freeze the other half of the stuff, so we actually have it for the holidays, for Christmas. And then my tree has been up for a while now, ever since Thanksgiving. And then I've been working on my tree skirt, but my shopping is poor.
Oh no, that's the worst.
I haven't gotten one single gift yet.
Oh no. So what would you say today is your favorite part of the holidays? Tell me what your favorite part of the holidays was when you were a kid and what it is now.
My favorite part of the holidays as a kid was definitely presents, of course. Mm-hmm. I mean, what kid doesn't love getting presents? And I loved going to my grandma's house and being with all of my cousins and stuff. And then, okay, here's how nerdy I am. Every year, I would get all my cousins together because we have a big family. So I have like 12 cousins that are all around my age, and then a bunch more that are younger. But I would coordinate all of us and put on a program for the family.
That's cute. I bet your parents loved that, though. Like, if my kids did that, I would die. That would be so cute.
Like, it was like a couple of different numbers where we'd sing some Christmas carols, we'd have little dances, do like a few little things, and I would make us all dress down into our slips. Like, we always had slips under our like Sunday dresses or whatever. Or church dresses, whatever we were wearing to church that day, and I would make us wear slips because we look like angels. Yeah. And I made little halos for our head out of that like Christmas tinsel stuff, and yeah, sing Christmas carols and do little things. I always put together this program, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool.
That's not nerdy though, because your parents love that shit.
They acted like they did.
Like I love when my kids do. Like, sometimes Forrest will like tell a scary story before he goes to bed, and he'll like get up and act it out. And it's like my favorite thing.
That's so funny. So I think those are my favorite holiday memories growing up. And then as an adult now, I just really love decorating and just being in it every day. And I actually dread it happening. I don't want to say dread, that's so like looming, but like I like it to extend as long as possible, because when the day actually gets there, like I feel like there's like a little bit of a mourning after the holidays are over.
Oh no, the time period after the holidays is disgusting. It's just like all the magic in life is gone and you're on to January, which is like the most boring month.
And it's always very dreary. Even in LA, I feel like January is very dreary.
We need to create some January traditions because I know the exact feeling. And even when I was a kid, like my favorite things were obviously presents and just that feeling of coziness and just like everybody's kind of in a better mood. But I would kind of hate it when the actual day would get there after you're done opening presents because it's kind of that feeling of it's all over.
Exactly what I was thinking. It's so sad. And then when you take down, I usually take down all my Christmas decorations on New Year's Day while I'm watching like the parade and stuff. And once you get it all down, it just feels like I feel like the house feels empty too.
Yeah.
And you just feel like you're really missing like this big part of your life that was yours for like a month and a half.
Yeah,
or 2 months. Or
I know the
whatever.
feeling. We need like a January holiday because it's dreary out there.
Yeah, it gets really sad. I know a lot of people have depression and sadness and stuff, and obviously anxiety for so many reasons during the holidays. But for me, I mean, I wouldn't call it depression or whatever, but there's definitely a sadness when they're over.
Yeah.
It just goes from so many exciting things that for me, it's September, end of September is my birthday, then it goes straight into Halloween, straight into Thanksgiving, straight into Christmas and New Year, and then it's just like over.
Blah. Yeah, 100%.
But we have our moment to look forward to.
I'm so excited. Yeah, that's February 9th. We're doing a live podcast through Moment. So you can get tickets at moment.co/girlsnextlevel. And we are going to be going through all the Playboy related blind items, urban legends, anything we can weigh in on, debunk, confirm, elaborate on. We're so excited about it. And that's right before Valentine's Day. So we're calling it Blind Date with the Blind Items and doing a little Valentine's theme.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Did you notice I made an underwater tree for us?
No! I saw the tree, but I didn't even pay attention to what the theme was.
I forget where we talked about this. It was probably on our Patreon, but we used to be obsessed with this tree they would make at this weird store downtown called Moscatel's, which is like a Michael's Crafts, but bigger and better.
It's amazing.
And they used to do like all these themed display trees, and one of them was an underwater tree. And I went to Moscatel's yesterday, and this is how my mind works. I'm like thinking the same display from 15 years ago is going to be there, because like it was so good, why get rid of it? And they don't do the themed trees anymore. They have one candy one, and they still have amazing stuff, don't get me wrong. But they have a candy tree, but no more themed trees. So I just dug through Moscatel's to find anything, and then dug out some of my old Disney ornaments that were like Little Mermaid or Finding Nemo or whatever.
Yeah, I wish you would have told me.
underwater tree.
I would have saved you the trip, because I went there like a week ago, and even though the store is still amazing if you want any crafting stuff or ribbon or anything like that, I was really disappointed in the holiday stuff and the no themed tree. Well, very few themed trees. And they have a candy themed tree, which I was super excited. But they don't have a candy aisle with all those decorations. Like, they didn't sell it. And you can't get to that tree to, like, pick it off, like, on some...
Oh, they had better stuff on the tree. Because I saw candy stuff in the aisle, but it probably wasn't, like, everything they have on the tree.
No, it was, like, gingerbread. Which, obviously, I'm not opposed to gingerbread, but I was looking for, like, the more, like, pastel-y... And this is, like, the very red and peppermint gingerbread, like, darker color stuff. They don't have, like, the pastel and glittery, like, candy stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, Moscatel's used to do this thing where they would have like a line of trees, and they were all themed different. They were so cool.
They were amazing. They really did a good job. There was a few stores like that I love going to. Remember Stats in Pasadena? Did you ever go there with me?
I don't think I went there. I remember you talking about it and Rogers Garden, but I don't... No, I've been to Stats once. I went to Stats.
It was incredible.
What happened to that?
Well, I think it's still there. But I think they don't go all out as much as they used to. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't been in a couple of years. But I feel like the last time I was there... Well, they used to go all out for Halloween, too, and I was like...
I think that's when I went. They had, like, all the Halloween villages and stuff like that.
Yeah, but for Christmas time, they do, like, they have a whole Christmas tree room.
Whoa.
It's amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, there's a few stores like that here in LA. We're lucky like that.
So seeing as we're both such big holiday people, I was wondering, when you moved into the mansion, did you have any expectation of what the holidays were going to be like living there as a girlfriend? Or did anything fall short or surpass your expectations?
I was just really excited to be there for the holidays because my first Christmas in LA was so lonely. I think I talked about it on another podcast, but like I moved to LA in December, not realizing the whole city just shuts down. And I didn't feel comfortable leaving because I just got there. Like, I can't just leave now. And so I spent the holidays in LA. I literally got a blow-up tree from IKEA. It was like a green Christmas tree.
I didn't even know they made those.
And it had like this little popcorn confetti inside. I don't know. That was my tree. And I just remember being so sad and so lonely and thinking about what might be going on at the mansion. Obviously thinking about what my family was doing and how they were spending it. And just being like devastated that I was like so alone.
Oh,
so
no.
alone. So I was excited the next year to be at the mansion for the holidays. It is a little bit sad being away from my family because I've always done big Christmas events or all the holidays with my big family and stuff, but I was excited to do it with the mansion and to see how everything went, and a little bit nervous too because I was living there, but I still had my apartment.
Yeah.
And I was kind of torn because my sister came to spend Thanksgiving with me too. So she was at my apartment, but I didn't feel comfortable asking if she could come to the mansion.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get back to the apartment. So it was kind of like, this is Thanksgiving I'm talking about, so it's like kind of
a balancing act.
Yeah, totally.
What do you think, or how did you feel about the rule that girlfriends were not allowed to go home for Christmas? Because that's one of the rules that when I tell people about it, they're like, what? You weren't allowed to go home for Christmas?
Yeah. I mean, like I said a million times, I'm super close to my family. I really wanted to go home for the holidays. But there was something special about being at the mansion for the holidays too. So I wasn't anti, but it did suck to know you absolutely couldn't go home.
Yeah, for me, that rule wasn't the biggest deal. Kind of like the curfew, I didn't really mind just because I wasn't interested in going out. And for me, my feeling about it was kind of like, when you grow up, you're not spending when you grow up, you're not spending Christmas with like your birth family anymore. You're like spending it with your significant other. And I know a lot of people still go home for Christmas when they're adults, or like whole extended families will get together. But for me, I just kind of felt like, oh, this is like my grown-up Christmas now. Like I'm with my significant other and not my parents. But the rule itself felt pretty ridiculous to me simply because he had so many girlfriends, and you really need to make a rule where they all have to be at the mansion on Christmas and nobody can go home to see their family.
Yeah.
It seems a little sus to me.
Right.
Like over controlling. Like you have like one main girlfriend who's happy to be there for Christmas, so why can't everybody else? And I'm not saying that in a way like I was wishing you guys would go home on Christmas. It's not even coming from that place. It's just like the sense of ridiculousness about it. Like if it is important for somebody else to go home and see their family, like why can't they do that?
Yeah, well, I have mixed feelings about it. On one hand, I totally see why he has to be like, no, you have to be here for the holidays. It's really important for him to have his girlfriends there for that look and everything. And if everybody just left him on the holidays, how lonely would that be? If like here you are, have this like whole clan of girlfriends and party posse, but you're still alone on the holidays, that would be really sad.
But it wasn't public though, it wasn't.
Yeah, but I feel like that could be even worse, like sitting home alone on the holidays.
But he invited so many people over. Like the Christmas dinners were like, how many people do you think came to those Christmas dinners? Like 40?
I was going to say like 40.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, it's like going to an event without your boyfriend or something that you've been with for a long time. Like you would feel lonely and like alone, even in a room full of people. Now, I'm not saying that's an excuse for him. I'm just like trying to put myself in his shoes, like how he felt about it. But I agree, if you have somebody who's not going to go home for the holidays, then let somebody else go home. But then I feel like that gets tricky too, because I feel like girls would be fighting over whose year it is and whose turn it is to go home, and why it's more important that they go home. And you saw your parents live closer, mine are farther away. Like all the fighting that might have ensued if he said, okay, half of you can go home, but the other half have to stay. Like, how do we figure out who that is?
Yeah, and did people go home to visit their family like before Christmas ever? I don't really remember. I just remember the first year I was there, a girl went home, quote unquote, to visit her family, but then one of the other girls narked on her and said, no, she's visiting a boyfriend. And then she got kicked out, and she got kicked out in like a very dramatic way that kind of made an impression on me.
Yeah. No, I think you absolutely could go home early for it. You just needed to be there on the actual, like, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, and like New Year's Eve thing. You couldn't miss any of the events around it. I think you could be gone all the way up till December 23rd.
Yeah. I think that viewers of The Girls Next Door didn't necessarily know that that was a rule, because we only do one Christmas episode on Girls Next Door, and that's in season 3. And you see Kendra's mom and grandma come up for one of the dinners. I don't know if it was Christmas or Christmas Eve. I think it was just Christmas Eve. But the way it's cut on the show, it looks like they're there for Christmas. So you kind of get that sense of like, oh, they get to see their families too, even though that wasn't really the case.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the case.
Kendra just happened to have parents that lived really not parents, but like her mom and her
Family.
grandma that lived close by and like always wanted to be in the mix. But that wasn't the case for everybody else.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if my family ever came for any of the holidays. I don't think so, though.
Mine didn't either, because they usually like to come visit California like in the summer.
Mine didn't because, like I said, we have such a big family, and my parents' parents were still alive and aging, obviously, and so they felt it was important for them to be with all their brothers and sisters and their parents and all the, nieces and nephews and grandkids and stuff like that. So that was the much bigger thing. I think they would have felt like they were abandoning their family if they came just to visit me.
Yeah.
For, the holidays. So I don't think they did.
That makes sense. So Thanksgiving was my first holiday at the mansion. And when I was going back and looking at my scrapbooks to kind of jog my memory a little bit, the thing that stood out to me most is that Hef would give you copies of all the pictures from every night we went out. He'd make copies for everybody. But you would also get larger prints, like 4x6 prints of photos from like different events around the mansion that his personal photographer would take. And one thing I noticed is that as the years go on, it goes from me getting one photo from Thanksgiving, which was a lineup of 6 girlfriends standing next to Hef in the Great Hall, looking like we're about ready to go out, but really it was before Thanksgiving dinner. And then the next year, I get like 2 pictures. And then as the years go by, I get more and more and more pictures, to the point where like near the end, there's like a photo of every single little appetizer I get. So that was like kind of my takeaway when I looked back on my first Thanksgiving, is like you get more pictures as you move up the ladder.
For sure.
Like when you're the new girl, they don't really care. They just like give you like, oh, she gets one token photo.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Or you're like, if you get any photo.
Yeah.
But yeah, the longer we were there, the more pictures that we got. And especially when we were like the established 3 for such a long time. Like we just got pictures of everything eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the beginning, it's tough. So the first holiday you were there had to be 2001, right?
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving 2001. And I just remember feeling so cool because I had like an assigned seat at the table with like a place card.
Yeah, oh, I forgot about the place cards, and I used to keep them. Yeah.
I have them in my scrapbook too. Because when I would come up to the mansion as a guest for like buffet dinners, you just had to like find a seat in the corner.
Yeah,
if there
good luck.
was even a seat.
Good luck
left.
finding a seat.
Yeah, and then as a girlfriend, I would, sit next to Hef in like a folding chair, and then I got bumped because the situation was kind of weird, because when I moved in, the main girlfriend kind of already had one foot out the door, and everybody was kind of grooming me to be the next main girlfriend. So I would go down for every, buffet dinner on the weekends, and I would sit next to Hef. But then a holiday comes around, and all of a sudden I'm bumped to the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that I shouldn't have been. Like, it was fair. Like, I wasn't super bummed about it. But situations like that would happen over the couple of months where I kind of felt like I'm the one here all the time doing all the work, so to speak. But I'm still, like, getting bumped. It's kind of a shitty feeling.
Yeah.
So I was like down at the end of the table. And then some of Hef's friends placed a lot of importance on where they sat at the table. Like during a usual weekend buffet, it would be like me on one side of Hef, you on the other, and then it would be like all his male friends, and like somehow Kendra would shoehorn her way in somewhere. And I feel like the guys were bummed that they got moved down at the table because for Thanksgiving he wanted all his girlfriends at the table, so there really wasn't room for anybody
When there
else.
was a lot of girlfriends, we took up the whole
Yeah,
table.
exactly.
Like, there wasn't even room for family. Like, if anybody else got... Later on, when there was just 3 of us, I feel like family got to sit at the table, too.
And I think Keith always did. His brother always had a space, even when there was a lot of us. But, like, the friends got bumped.
Yeah. For sure they did. And they would set up extra tables, too. Like, there would be tables in the side rooms and stuff. And just, like, more tables around, too, than a normal buffet dinner. Because it was a bigger party type thing.
Another thing I noticed when I was looking at my scrapbook of that era is just how much, especially that first year, we went out during the holidays. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it's Christmas week, so we're not going to go to the clubs.
Oh, no, nothing stopped that.
In fact, I feel like for the first year, it looks like we're going out even more. Like, he just kept adding all these days, and I'm like, holy shit, we were busy.
Yeah, because all the clubs are throwing their Christmas parties or their Christmas events and stuff, and they want Hef there because they kind of promote that Hef's going to be there with all his girlfriends and stuff. So there were, like, lots of Christmas or holiday type party things that we were going to all the time at the clubs.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a week off or a week off between Christmas and New Year's. It was like you're going out more than ever. And that year the first year was a nightmare because that was when all the other girlfriends were starting to move out, and there were so many girls who wanted to move in that by the time January hit, we were going out and there were like 20 girls in the stretch limo. It was just like hectic.
Yeah, well, because I started coming out a couple months later and it was like that.
Yeah.
Like, just crazy amounts of girls trying to come out.
Insanity. And that year we went to Candy Cane Lane. If you guys don't know, Candy Cane Lane is this place in the valley outside of LA, and it's a street where everybody decorates their house really big for Christmas, and we just like got in the limo and had champagne and went and looked at Christmas lights. And that was like the holiday after 9/11. So I remember there was a house that had like cutouts of like firefighters and like cartoon versions of like firefighters and police officers and things like that. So that was a wholesome activity.
Yeah.
That was off the beaten path.
I didn't come around till 2002 for holidays. Well,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was around in 2001 a little bit, but like 2002 is when I came around for the holidays, and that Thanksgiving was my first Thanksgiving there, and it was extra special because I was also starting to move in that weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I had been coming out since May, but and pretty much living in bedroom 3, but still had my apartment. And if you remember, I had a lease on it until December. So Thanksgiving weekend, I was like moving all my stuff in, and I remember I had been working on presents for all of the girls because back then I used to work on presents early.
Yeah.
And I remember moving all the presents over. I was working on these giant boxes that I was decorating. I was filling the boxes with all kinds of stuff for each of the girls, and each girl had their own box, and I was like trying to put their names on it and decorate them in velvet and stuff. I remember just moving those giant boxes into my room.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot going on, I felt like, and it just felt very cozy to move into the mansion at the holiday time.
I bet. It's like the perfect time.
And even though I loved my apartment, it just felt good to like be at the mansion where there's all these people around, and you know, that time of year when everybody's feeling all festive and cozy.
Also, you can weigh in on this too. Like, what were the mansion decorations like before I started decorating?
I remember they inspired me to do something that turned out really cute. There was all these, the mansion's old, so it has a lot of wall sconces, like these little candelabras that are on the wall, not like regular lighting. And they would do these, like, bouquets almost.
And they were like
bows.
fresh, right? They were like...
Well, it was for Thanksgiving. What I'm thinking of is for Thanksgiving first.
Oh.
And so it was like, a dried corn and like straw and like,
A big bow.
sunflowers and a giant like bow type thing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do that. So I made a bunch of those, and I did them for all the wall sconces in my room too. And I still have those somewhere. They're really cute. So the mansion inspired me to do that for Thanksgiving. And then they used to do so many cute things, like the whole week leading up to, I think it was like the whole week, maybe even the whole month of December, they had a table in the Great Hall where they would put out like Christmas cookies and eggnog and like hot chocolate, like the whole display.
Yeah, that was cute. And do you remember, speaking of the sconces, when they started to do the Christmas ones and started to put like the decorations on like the balustrade on the stairway and stuff? I don't know what tree this is or what you call it. Was it balsam? But they had like fresh tree clippings that they would make those out of.
Yeah.
It wasn't like fake.
Yeah.
And it smelled good.
It smelled so good. And yeah, for Christmas, all those wall sconces, they would do like the green, the greenery pine and balsam or whatever it is. And there was a wreath on the front door and the giant Christmas tree and the, I know what you're thinking.
Okay, I can't think of the wreath on the front door without thinking of the weird post that somebody posted on Hef's Instagram when he was super old. But that's, if you're really paying attention to the episodes, you've heard me talk about it.
You know what she means. Yeah, so, and then,
what did you think of the tree?
I thought the tree was very traditional and normal.
Yeah, it was just kind of like underwhelming, I thought. It was
underwhelming for sure.
It was all like just kind of generic wooden ornaments, because the thing was they had the two large dogs that kind of roamed the house, and they didn't want, like, I guess Hef's wife didn't want any glass ornaments. She banned all glass ornaments because they could conceivably fall off the tree and a dog could step on it.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But my philosophy was more like, this property is huge, let's limit where the dogs can go because they're pissing all over the carpet.
Yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't put up a little fence and just not have them go in the living room.
That's what we eventually did.
month.
Yeah. There wasn't like one person on the staff whose job it was to make sure that was clean, or it wasn't really like a niche concern with housekeeping.
It would be a full-time job for
somebody. It really would. But it's just like, I mean, we did clean up after our dogs and take our dogs out and stuff, but like, if the big dogs are running around and nobody's observing them and they can go anywhere in the house, like, it improved later on when we took out a lot of the carpet and kind of limited where the dogs could go and like cleaned up all the stuff from the hallway because Archie felt like he had to lift his leg and piss on everything. Like, it cleaned up eventually, but for a while it was just like, it wasn't our fault.
Yeah, and I feel like too, unless you saw it in progress happening, like, you wouldn't know that the dog just peed there.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously, if there's a puddle in the middle of the like marble floor, you would see that, but like on the carpet, you would not know.
Yeah.
Till you stepped in it.
Yeah. So it was just like phantom pee everywhere.
Well, one of the things I remember too about Thanksgiving, I don't know if we're taking it year by year or just.
I had it year by year,
but I feel like we're kind of all over.
But we can weave it in. Like, I'm not super strict about it. I just have it year by year just because like things kind of develop.
Okay, I'll wait.
But the next thing on my list is like my birthday.
Okay.
The first year.
Yeah. Oh wait, you know what else too? I wanted to talk about in here leading up to the holidays was like the Christmas cards and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I always thought that I was so excited the first year I got Hef's Christmas card. I don't know why I thought it was such a cool thing that I got a Christmas card from Hef.
Well, what did his first Christmas card look like that you got? Because I forgot.
It was just him, like, folded arms, standing at the end of the staircase, like, all proud, smiling. It said Happy Holidays, and then he wrote Love Hef inside.
Like a PR photo?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, basically. But I was still excited that I got a Christmas card from Hef.
Well, it's cool to get a Christmas card from a celebrity when you don't know very many celebrities, and they were always like nice cards, like nice paper stock, and
yeah, and I think I was moving in at this time too, so it makes sense that I might get a Christmas card.
Nothing wrong with being excited about it.
And then you did a Christmas card with Hef.
Yeah, I used to send Christmas cards back then, which seems so foreign to me now. Like, I feel like I would never do a Christmas card now. But back then I used to send, and they weren't necessarily cards with a picture, but like even when I was in college, I would send Christmas cards to like a handful of people, like my old high school friends and stuff. And it wasn't like a picture of me, it would just be like a card. Like you buy like the packet of like Christmas cards or whatever, generic ones. And then I did one when I lived at the mansion, like my second year there, that was a picture of me and Hef in Santa hats, and I was holding my dog Harlow. It was a cute picture. And then one year he put a picture of me and him on his Christmas card.
Which I thought was a huge step when that happened.
It was a huge step, but I don't know if it's a huge step for the reason I think he just really liked the picture. Because it was a really classic picture. Because I was in a bunny costume, so it just looked like Hef and a bunny. I mean, it must have partway been a big step because it's just to put anybody on the card, I guess.
Yeah, so for years it had just been him on the card. And so, like, I think since he was married, it would like, that was the last time anybody else was on the card, as far as I know. And then all of a sudden, well, I guess not all of a sudden, but like then one year, you make the Christmas card too. And I remember being so happy for you, being like, you made the Christmas card!
Oh no, I thought it was really cool too.
Yeah, like I was so excited for you. Like, it's official! You guys have been together like how long now? But it's official now.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, I just remember thinking it was really cool. But I want to go back to the Christmas card thing in general for a second because, okay, I never did Christmas cards. Then I like started it up a little bit while I was at the mansion, and we'll get to that, my first Christmas card that I did. And then when I left the mansion, that was like something I really wanted to continue doing because I thought, how fun is that? And Nick and I did it like our first year, and then I never did it again. And I feel there's a guilt for me that doesn't do Christmas cards. And when I receive Christmas cards from people, I'm like, oh, I feel bad that I don't send Christmas cards. I hope they don't think that, I hope this person doesn't think they're the only one that didn't get one and that I send them and they just didn't get it.
I don't think people think that because I think Christmas cards are really old school. Like, I have a handful of friends who still do them, but they are old school. I feel like the more modern version is to take the Christmas card picture, throw it up on your Instagram, Happy Holidays, and maybe send like a couple out to family or something.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't feel guilty about it.
Okay. I get rid of that guilt.
Yeah, I started doing them when I first had kids. I did them for like 2 years in a row. And then I wanted to do one where we were all Harry Potter wizards, but it was not going to be corny, I swear. It was going to be like very, the style was going to be very dark academia. I just had like the black robes. I had little robes for the kids. And we had this house back when I was married, like he still has it, but our living room was like a 2-story like dark wood library. So we were going to be standing in there and wizards, and it was going to be very cute and not corny.
Yeah.
He thought it was corny and did not want to do it.
Wait, but he's into all that. I feel like he's into like corny and like crazy elaborate decorations and costumes and themes. And...
It kind of blew my mind too because he's very much like a family man and loved the fact that we did Christmas cards to begin with. And I think maybe he wasn't seeing my vision because like wizards aren't Christmas. But if you know, like, the Harry Potter movies, there's a very much a Christmas vibe to Harry Potter. There's a whole Christmas strain in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I just think he wasn't seeing my vision, and he just refused to do it, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah, that's really surprising to me.
Yeah. So that tradition stopped.
But another tradition we used to do at the mansion was holiday photos with us girls as a gift for Hef.
Yeah, because we didn't know what to get him. Like, what do you get the man who has everything?
There is nothing to get him.
And he's like, yeah, and he's like the ultimate scrapbooker, so of course he wants like photos and things like that.
So we would get together, Holly would try and organize it, we would get together and do these group photos.
Which was not always fun.
It was
like,
not fun.
The first time it happened, like the first year I moved in, I forget who organized it. It wasn't me, obviously, because I was brand new. But all the girls got together. There were like, I want to say there were like 5 of us plus one girl who wasn't officially a girlfriend, but she was going out with us. And the guy who took the photos was like one of David LaChapelle's assistants who was starting his own thing.
Wow.
And we were all like in red lingerie. And it was a cute photo. So because that had been done the first year, I kind of felt like that was a tradition I needed to take over the next year when I was the main girlfriend. So I had everybody get together. I had everybody wear like long white dresses, like really pretty, like nice, normal dresses. Like I think people might be thinking of me and my taste and be like, long white dresses, what the fuck did that look like? But no, like everybody looked nice. And I had to have a photographer like take photos of us together around the mansion. And it was just a little awkward because like I'm trying to do something that's like inclusive for the group and, you know, for Hef and something that Hef will like from all of us, but there was always attitude.
I remember it being, when we did the white dresses, I remember it being so snarky and so uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah, you probably felt it more than me because you were so new.
I was new and I was living there and they were hating on me for living there. Like, they had such attitude. Their whole Their whole thing was you had the best of both worlds. You had an apartment and you got to stay at the mansion. Like, why would you give that up?
Yeah, people would get jealous if they thought you had any perceived benefit at all. Like, I remember when I first moved in and I was given this car, and it wasn't my style. I was super grateful to have it, don't get me wrong. Like, super grateful to be driving, like, a nice new car. But because it had so many customizations done to it, like, the other girls hated me because how dare I get a car that in some way is worth more than their cars. And I was like, I didn't even ask for the car.
Yeah.
Like, back off.
Yeah.
And it just made you like pariah number one if you had any perceived benefit that they didn't have. I want to ask you too, because my birthday is so close to Christmas that I kind of meld it into like the world of holidays. And I wanted to ask you, like, did you have any expectations when you moved in about what a birthday at the mansion was going to be like? Like, did you think Hef was going to do anything special for your birthday, or if it was it just going to get overlooked, or what did you think do you have any expectations as to what that was going to look like?
Gosh, I don't think I had an expectation, but my birthday wasn't for like another year once I moved in. And so I kind of got to see what everybody else did, so I kind of knew what to expect. It was always just, I don't mean just as in this isn't good enough, but I mean it's just dinner and then come back, and then there was like cake and champagne, and he would give you some cash in a card with like a picture of him and me.
Oh yeah,
or me and him, however it. And then the other girls would get gifts, and we'd open it up when we got back from dinner, and it was always very just low key and nice, and yeah. So I knew what was happening before my birthday came around. So I don't think I had any other expectations. I always thought it would be cool if we could do something like big, or because we have this whole mansion and all these girls around and stuff. Like, why don't we do something fun and big? But I knew it wasn't ever going to be like that.
Well, eventually we did.
Well, yeah, eventually, but like not at that time.
While the girls were there, yeah.
At that time, I was like, oh, it's never going to be that. It's always going to be this.
I'd seen a couple birthdays by the time my birthday rolled around. The first one was right after I moved in, and this girl had a birthday, and she was irate that her birthday wasn't good enough. She was irate that nothing special happened on her birthday. She was irate. She ended up like sneaking out, and I went with her. Sneaking out, because this was like in the very early days. No, because this was in the early days. I just moved in a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't that I was dying to go out or anything, but at that point in time I was still thinking like, this is going to be a sorority, like we have each other's backs.
Oh shit.
So I went out with her, and I remember the next morning Hef asked me, he goes, was it fun? And I go, yeah, I didn't really have fun, because to be honest, I did not. Like, to me it was like I was just going for the sake of that girl, because I wanted to be supportive of her, because I felt like she had been somewhat welcoming to me.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Wait, Hef knew you guys snuck out?
Well, no, we didn't. I don't know if it was sneaking out. It was more like she had a confrontation with him, because it was her birthday. We went out that night. There was a cake. The girls got her gifts like we typically do. Hef got her like cheapo Playboy costume jewelry like he usually does. And she was just irate that her birthday wasn't more special, and she was throwing a tantrum in her room, and she kept saying to Hef, she's like, well, if you're not going to do anything special on my birthday, I want to go out, I want to go to this club. And he very reluctantly let her take the limo, and me and one other girl went with her, like, to be supportive. So it wasn't like we were sneaking out. I feel like it was kind of sneaking out just because of the way I was after that. Like, I was way more loyal toward him. But at the time, I thought, you know, this girl's been somewhat welcoming to me moving in. I need to support her. Like, I'm not going to bail on her. But it wasn't fun. Like, we went to some club. It was lame. We ended up sitting at some person's apartment. It was lame. Ew. So when Hef asked me, did you have fun? I go, no, I didn't really have fun. Like, just being honest. And he goes, good. But no, she was pissed. I don't know what she was expecting or what she was comparing it to, but she was throwing a tantrum about it. She was like, when we went to Europe for his birthday, he had a cake in every single country. Spoiled little man.
Oh my God.
She was pissed. And he gave her this like Playboy costume jewelry, which he probably didn't even give any mind to. It was probably like Mary and Norma picked it out. And she was freaking out because it was gold, and she hated gold. He knows I hate gold. He knows I never wear gold, which I call bullshit on. Like, he does not pay attention to his girlfriend's tastes or likes or anything.
Wow.
But she was throwing a tantrum, and she was on one. So I didn't have huge expectations for my birthday after seeing that. But then another birthday rolled around, and this was the birthday of the girl who was one of his favorites at the time. So what did we do for her birthday in contrast to the other girl's birthday? Luxury trip to Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, for everybody. We stayed at the MGM Mansions, which if you don't know what that is, that's like a high roller villa at the MGM that they don't even like offer for a price. They just give to like their high rollers and stuff. And, you know, we went out clubbing and these nice restaurants like 2 nights in a row and private jet, all the works for her birthday.
Oh, shit.
So that kind of opened my eyes.
Was the other girl still there and totally
Yeah.
Was she pissed?
I don't remember her being pissed in the... Well, she wouldn't have confided in me at that time because by the time the Vegas birthday rolled around, everybody hated me.
Oh, okay.
So things had turned. But I think she was more excited that she got to go to Vegas and like be wild and crazy and stuff
do the
like
whole
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't her birthday.
Yeah.
It's still good. Yeah.
And I think she was accustomed to the point that that girl was way more favored than her. Like, she already knew that. But it was such a stark contrast. But after seeing the Vegas birthday, I thought, oh, maybe I could do something cool for my birthday. So, of course, what I wanted to do is go to Disneyland. Is there any big surprise there? And I remember, like, one of the older girlfriends at the time, she asked me, like, what I want to do for my birthday. And I said, oh, I'd really love to go to Disneyland. I wonder if Hef would take us. And she goes, oh, yeah. She goes... And she was totally being nice. She was totally trying to help me. So I'm not like bagging on her, but she was like, oh yeah, you know, Hef totally, he loves seeing things through new eyes. So what you need to tell him is that you've never been to Disneyland before. And I couldn't do that. I'm just a bad liar. I couldn't do that because that's like a big lie to uphold. Because obviously like Disneyland is like a huge thing for me. Like I had an annual pass back when they were cheap, even back then. So I just didn't feel like, because at the time I saw Hef as somebody that I respected intellectually and didn't want to lie to, and I felt like that would be a heavy lie to keep up over the course of my time knowing him, that I had never been to Disneyland before. And I go, oh, well, that's not true, I never... So she turns around, honey, do you know that Holly has never been to Disneyland before? We should go for her birthday. And she was totally doing something nice for me, so I don't like mean to be hateful, but that was just an example of like how some of those women there just like knew how to work men.
Yeah.
And just like were good at it. And I was not good at it.
Wow. And so he said yes.
Yeah.
Because we went.
Yeah, so we went, we took like a bus down there, and I was so excited because I got to go to Club 33 for the first time, which he was not a member, but for some reason Mary was always able to get him these perks at Disneyland because she was friends with this woman who worked at Disney and supposedly was like, used to be
Walt's secretary, right?
Supposedly, but her name was Virginia, and I've done research and Walt never had a secretary named Virginia. But maybe she did something else. Like maybe something got lost in translation. Like maybe she was not his main secretary, but another one. Like I'm sure he had plenty of people working for him over the years.
Yeah. Okay, wait, I have a quick question. Was this before I was there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we went to the club, and I was like over the moon, like dream come true. Like I never thought I would be able to go because Club 33 was so mysterious back then. Like you couldn't find pictures of it online. Nobody knew anyone who was a member. Like now it's kind of like out of control, just like people posting pictures all the time. There's like no mystery left anymore, sadly. But back then it was like the most mysterious thing. So I was so stoked that I got to go. So
yeah,
that was an amazing birthday. And I was kind of bummed because we left really early.
Oh.
Because he, you know, can't keep going that long at the Disney parks. But it was a good birthday.
Well, I remember my first birthday, like, I was expecting just dinner and a movie like everyone else got, but we did actually go to Disneyland for my birthday, and it was somebody else's birthday, too. We both had the same birthdays, and I was, like, surprised, but I didn't feel like it was, like, we were going for my birthday. I just felt like we were going to Disneyland and it happened to be my birthday.
Like more of a group thing, kind of?
Yeah, it didn't. The only thing that made it stand out as like it was your birthdays is there was dinner afterwards and a cake that said happy birthday to us. But I didn't feel like the Disneyland trip was per se our birthday. And then after that, all the birthdays still went back to dinner and, you know, just pick a place for dinner and then back to the mansion. So I don't even know why we did Disneyland that first year.
It was probably me telling Mary, you know what we should do?
You know what? Bridget's never been to Disneyland.
Well, because the other girl whose birthday it was, I don't think she would have picked that either.
No, I don't think so either. So that's why I'm saying I don't think it was either one of us. I think it just
The birthdays got tacked onto a trip that was already planned.
either that or have said I have 2 birthdays on the same day. What am I going to do? And the secretary's like, why don't you guys just go to Disneyland or something? And they'll both like that. Like just, something that everybody might like.
Yeah.
And throw it in there. I don't know. I don't know how it happened or how it came to me because I was still pretty new. And I just know that I would have never have asked for that and I never would have expected that.
And we ate at the ESPN zone, which is weird. Like, who picked that?
Yeah, I don't know that either because I definitely didn't even know that restaurant existed. So I didn't pick it or anything. Nor am I like some big sports fan where I'm like, oh, you know what? The game is on later that night and we have to go to ESPN Zone and celebrate there.
I won't get into it too much because I've talked about this on the show before, but the Christmas presents, my first Christmas there, were unreal. We were given money to spend on each other, and it was just like designer bags, designer shoes, cash, like all these gift certificates. It was so amazing and mind-blowing to me because I'd never had anything like that. I remember calling home and like telling my parents, oh, we got all this. I didn't tell my parents anything else that was going on at the mansion, but I sure told people about the presents because that was insane.
Wow. Well, when I was there the following year, there was not that, and we did not get money to buy the other girls' presents. We had to do that on our own.
And that was another thing that made the mean girls hate me so much, is they knew what I got that first year, and they're like, why are we not getting that?
A lot of tension, I felt like, came around the holidays because of expectations and wanting certain things and not being a budget for it, or Hef not doing that anymore, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were very, very bitter about there not being a bigger budget or getting money to buy. Why should they felt like, why should I be forced to buy these girls that I don't even like a bunch of presents? Like, I don't even want to spend the holidays with them. Why should I have to buy them presents? If Hef wants me to buy them presents, he needs to pay for it.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that hostility came from one of the meanest mean girls was like hanging around a lot during my first Christmas there. Like, she wanted to be a girlfriend. She was like hanging around a lot, like on Fun in the Sun and stuff. And I probably bragged to her about the present. Not bragging like obnoxiously or like trying to be like, oh, look what I got. But I was just so mind blown by the gifts, like wide-eyed about it. I would tell anybody who asked.
Yeah.
So that's probably why she knew, and then she was mad that they didn't get it once they were there. But he just wanted to tighten the purse strings and not spend as much money on girlfriends. It wasn't anything that was my fault.
Yeah. I remember so let's see, what Christmas would this have been? That first Christmas, I guess, that I was there, like, I got everybody juicy tracksuits.
That's a good gift. I would be very happy with a juicy tracksuit.
Yeah. Me too. Right now. Remember the giant group photos we'd have to take at Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas dinner, Hef would have like 40 guests over, and he would take a giant family photo in the living room, and it looked like a picture, like those old school pictures of like kids lined up in a giant school class. It was like all these people on like levels.
Yeah.
And they would take the picture on one of those old 8x10 cameras. Like one of the cameras that you'd have to like put the hood over the photographer and they're like kneeling down like from the 1800s. They would take the picture on that, and we used to take the pictures after we got them back and like quiz each other on who are all these people, because we wanted to know all the names of Hef's friends.
But do you remember how competitive it was too? Hef wanted himself and all the girlfriends to be, next to him in the picture in some way, like standing right behind him, or sitting in a row next to him, or in front of him, whatever, all around him. And then everybody else had to like file in wherever you found room. And a lot of times we didn't all fit in one photo, and so there had to be 2 photos.
Oh,
and people hated being in the second batch of photos.
Oh my
they
God,
only
I
wanted to be in the
forgot
first
about
photo,
that.
and people like vying for position to be closest to Hef and stuff. And I just remember it being so awkward and so tense and like weird.
There was so much competition. It was
so
strange.
But then, you're right. Afterwards, when we'd get the picture, we'd be like, okay, this is so-and-so and so-and-so, and this is his wife so-and-so, and this is blah, blah, blah. And, like, trying to, do we know everyone's names that were there? We were pretty good at it, though.
Yeah.
There were a couple people where I'm like, who the heck is that?
Yeah, because there were a couple people that I feel like he should have only invited super regulars to that, but there were a couple people that you didn't see or interact with that often who would pop up on Christmas.
Yeah.
And that was always tricky. But what was the vibe of the New Year's Eve party for you compared to the other mansion parties?
New Year's Eve was always very, mellow, small, kind of quiet.
New Year's Eve has always kind of had a depressing vibe for me. I think because when I was first told about it as a kid, I thought something really cool was going to happen at midnight. And then I said to my mom, well, what's going to happen if I stay up? And she goes, nothing. You just wish everybody a happy new year. And I remember being so disappointed.
You're like, I stayed up for this.
I thought it was going to be like fireworks and like all this cool shit. But and I hate the Old Lang Syne song.
Oh, I feel like that makes me get into tears, that song.
It's so depressing. Like, that is not how I want to kick off my new year. And there was something about that party at the mansion, not that we didn't have fun, not that it wasn't like a fun party, but it ended way earlier than the other parties because I felt like after midnight, everybody just kind of dispersed.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Why do you need to do that? You can still stay and party. But everybody kind of dispersed. It was a formal party. Like, you could wear lingerie or a gown, and guys had to be formal.
Guys had to be like in tuxes, sort of.
Yeah, so there was just kind of a vibe. And I know Hef did not like New Year's Eve. So just the vibe was kind of
Wait,
like...
why didn't he like New Year's Eve? I feel like you told me.
Yeah, he didn't like New Year's Eve because he felt that it was always like a bad time for him in relationships.
Yeah, New Year's Eve is tricky. I mean, even now I feel like New Year's Eve is tricky. Everyone's always like, oh, what are you doing for New Year's and stuff? And it's always like, well, I don't want to drive. It's hard or impossible to get an Uber or a car service or a taxi.
Try being in Vegas, going to the strip.
But at least if you're in Vegas, you can stay at the hotel.
Well, that's
on
the
Strip.
only thing. You have to have a hotel room in the place that you're going to a party to. Otherwise, you do not want to leave that hotel room. It's just
Well, I feel like
nightmare.
LA's similar. Like, you don't want to have to, like, obviously you don't want to drive because you're going to be drinking, or most likely. And then, and you don't even want to be driving because other people are going to be drinking.
Yeah.
You know? So you don't even really want to be on the roads. You can't get car service or Ubers and stuff. It's really hard, and they jack the prices up ridiculous. Everything is extra overpriced, whether you're going to dinner or just getting a cocktail, a bar, whatever. A lot of places you have to know way in advance and have like a reservation to be a part of it. And I just feel like it's so messed up. And I guess it would be really fun if I had like a group of people or family and we all stayed at a hotel and we went down to the hotel ballroom or whatever and had a party. That would be amazing. But nobody ever like plans something like that or thinks in advance for that.
We need to start a new tradition where we like go to a haunted hotel every New Year's Eve and like do that.
I would love to, because I always feel like a fuddy-duddy. I stay up no matter what. I stay up until midnight.
Fuddy-duddy is your word of the month. I don't think I'd heard that word in so long, but now it's like...
Okay, well, I feel like an old lady, because I want to be out doing something for New Year's Eve. I just can't justify it. And there's nothing that happens where I'm like, that is what I want to go and do. That's what I want to pay triple for than any other time and go and do. Like, I haven't had that happen. So yes, please, let's do a New Year's Eve party.
Yeah, we need to start a tradition because it's always just kind of very disappointing. Like, my last couple of New Year's Eve has just been like me trying to make it cute for the kids and staying in, but they're not even interested. Like, they don't care about staying up. Like, I always make them like cute snacks and try to make it like festive or whatever, but yeah, we need to start something new.
Yeah, I even suggested to Nick that we get married on New Year's Eve because it would give my whole family and all my friends that don't do anything on New Year's Eve something to do. But he sees it as the opposite. He thinks that it's very rude to ask people to spend their New Year's Eve on a wedding.
Yeah,
and I see both ways.
So.
I see both ways.
I can see what he means, but I just don't think very many people really have great plans for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And I think they would be happy to have an event to go to, especially like if it was a destination.
I would be if somebody told me, oh, I'm getting married and it's on New Year's Eve, I'd be like, yes, I'm going to be partying this New Year's Eve. I have something to go to.
A couple of years ago, because they always do fireworks in Vegas for New Year's Eve, and Zach and I like drove to a McDonald's parking lot to watch fireworks.
Yeah, but see, that's cute.
It was cute, and every time I drive by that McDonald's, I laugh, because I'm like, that was our firework viewing place.
At least it's something, you know? Like, I would do that.
Well, now we're at your first Thanksgiving.
Oh, my first Thanksgiving? Oh, well, I was already talking about it because I moved in. My sister was at my apartment, so I was kind of going back and forth. I really wanted... I remember my sister and I got, like, a tray from the grocery store of, like, those little croissant sandwiches with, like, lunch meat in it. They make, like, a tray for holidays. We got a whole tray of those, and we spent the weekend just eating those and playing games.
Why does that sound so good?
They were delicious. They were delicious. And, yeah, we just spent the whole weekend eating on those and playing games and chips and dip. We made my parents cottage cheese dip, and like watch movies and stuff, and then I don't think she helped me pack stuff, but I didn't like take her to the mansion at that point. But I will say that was no, it might have been the next year. Shoot, I can't remember. But I never drank wine up until that point. I was like, ew, wine, no. Like, I'll drink cocktails, but like wasn't into wine. And then the second year, they poured me a glass of wine, and I was like, okay, whatever, I'll try it. And I took a sip, and I was like, whatever. I guess it's not so bad. And then I took another sip, and I was like, no, I really like this. Mm-hmm. And then from that day on, I love wine. And I love red wine.
Oh, that's so funny. The beginning of your wine journey.
It was. It really was. So and I'm not a wine snob or anything. Like, I'm not a wine aficionado. I can't tell you anything about wines or anything like that. But I love them.
That's so fun. Well, it probably introduced you with a good wine, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was I know it was a Burgundy, which I feel like I think is like a Pinot Noir. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about wines, and I think it was nice, but not like crazy expensive. And I would ask them to stock it after that, but they said, "Oh, well, we have a ton left over from Thanksgiving, so we'll just save it for you." But eventually, it did run out, and then they were like, "Oh, we can't get that anymore." And I don't know what the price point was, but.
There were some of the mean girls who lived at the mansion who were like super into trying to get really expensive wines from the mansion, even to the point where they like broke into Hef's wine cellar and like took a bunch of wine because they said that the wine that was being stocked at the mansion wasn't good enough, and how can Hef like let his girlfriends not drink the best wine?
So weird.
Jesus. Like, that's the battle you want to fight? Really?
And as if their palates are so sophisticated that they, like...
So the second time I had a birthday at the mansion in 2002, we went to Disneyland again. It was a little bit different, though. We took a bus, but we also went with, like, Hef's kids, and one of the girls had a kid. So it was kind of a different vibe. And we ate at the Blue Bayou, because I wanted to eat in there. That's the restaurant inside Pirates of the Caribbean.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, no, I love that place. And they brought a cake. Which you would not be allowed to bring your own cake to Disneyland anymore.
Oh, really?
Absolutely not.
Well, maybe they only let him because it was Hef.
Maybe, but I don't think so. Because I think they were just more lax back then. The rules were different for a lot of things, I think. Because I think back then, like, they didn't have as many, like, quote-unquote, like, VIP requests or, like, people trying to do certain things. Because it was before social media, so it's not like people are trying to go and flex or trying to go and do unusual things. Yeah. But now, like, even if you were eating, like, at the club and wanted a cake, you have to order it from this particular cake place they have. So you wouldn't be allowed to bring a sheet cake. But yeah. I had a cute little sheet cake at the Blue Bayou.
I remember, if you've ever eaten at the Blue Bayou, it looks like you're eating outside, and there's, like, the stars, and you can hear, like, crickets and frogs and stuff like that. Like, it's really cute, and it has this really fun vibe. And I remember the kids were like freaking out that we were not outside. They're like, "No, we're outside." We're like, "No, we're not." Like,
yeah, one of them said something like, "It's funny how we're outside," but I go, "No, we're inside." And he goes,
yeah, they were like so blown away that we were actually inside. But I remember that being a fun birthday.
Yeah. It was funny because one of the kids said to me on that trip, "My mom told me not to talk to you guys because you drink a lot." And I remember thinking, well, at the time. But now thinking about it, I would not let my kids go.
Really?
No. Not with all those girlfriends. Hell no. And I'm not saying that like criticizing her parenting at all, but I'm just trying to put myself in those shoes. Like, if my kid's dad had like the same girlfriends that Hef had, no.
Really? Even a VIP trip to Disneyland with like...
Because I could do that myself. Absolutely. I'm getting fired up just thinking about it. I would not let my kids be around those people. Absolutely not. And I mean, granted, I knew how they acted, and, their mom didn't. Like, she's not living with them.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely not. Not allowed.
Interesting.
No.
Interesting. Well, first they weren't little. They were older, the kids.
Like 10 and 12.
Yeah. But not like super little kids, not like 5-year-olds and stuff.
Yeah.
And then one of the kids was one of the girlfriend's kids. So that
makes sense.
So that made sense. So yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. No. I mean, I can't stop. Like, I'm like fired up thinking about no way.
Like, I guess since I don't have kids, I can't really put myself in those shoes and think, but I feel like I'd be like, okay, well, this is a VIP trip with security around and a photographer around and their dad is there. And
I don't think you would. So my second Christmas at the mansion, that was the Christmas, or our first Christmas with the Mean Girls, and we were not given all the money to spend on each other like the year before. So I think they expected to get like really extravagant gifts. And then what we got were these giant bags full of like random trinkets. But it was just like really random stuff, like weird random like catalog tchotchkes and things like that. But the Mean Girls were irate because they felt like they got cheated for Christmas, and somehow that turned into them blaming me for it and saying that I picked out, like, why would I do that? If I picked out the stuff, you'd be getting fucking Disney toys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was not stuff that was like up my interests at all.
Yeah.
But, you know, I got blamed for that, and they were mad.
Yeah. What did you get, Hef? Do you even remember?
I would get him obviously like pictures and framed things. One time I got him like this Betty Boop statue that he really liked. I mean, I don't remember over the years. It was mostly pictures, but it would just be the kind of thing where like, just like now, like throughout the year, I'd kind of be looking for like little things I thought he would think was cute.
Yeah. I remember that first year that I spent Christmas there, I made like this collage. I cut out like a cardboard bunny, and then I put, inside the cardboard bunny, I put like all these I made a collage of all the pictures of the like first year we had spent together with everybody on there and stuff. And then we had just gotten our bunny costumes. And I marched down to the Grove. If you don't know what the Grove is here in LA, it's part of the farmers. It's like a big mall, farmers market, but then there's like a really nice outdoor mall, and it's really beautiful. And they do it all up for Christmas. And in the center, they put in this like big gingerbread house that's super cute, but Santa's in there. And I remember going there in my bunny costume and taking a picture with Santa.
That's cute. I think I remember that, yeah.
I printed them out and gave them to Hef for Christmas, and he got a kick out of it, so that was my present to Hef. And then that year, we went and saw the Christmas lights again. We went to Candy Cane Lane. I think we also went to like Pasadena and did some houses out that way.
Yeah, I don't remember. I definitely remember Candy Cane Lane, and I remember going to McDonald's afterwards.
Yes, I was going to say that.
And it was funny because it's not like I didn't have the chance to like grab fast food when I was out running errands during the day, but something felt so novel about going to a fast food place when we were out with Hef. It happened very rarely, but when we did, we thought it was so cool, and there was something so fun and nostalgic about like getting a hamburger at McDonald's, or like there were a couple times we went to Taco Bell, and even on the show there's like a whole scene where we go to Arby's.
Oh yeah.
But it just like felt like this, you know, fun novelty, because we never got to do that.
Yeah, totally. And I remember so we this time though, we didn't do it with a limo. We got like a big bus. And I remember like making sure we had hot cocoa and stuff to spike it with.
Yeah.
And we had eggnog on there, and of course champagne and wine and all that kind of stuff. And cookies and all kinds of like fun stuff for our trip. But I don't think the bus had a bathroom.
I was just going to say that, because when you started to say hot chocolate, because I'm one of those people that's always drinking something and I always have to pee. I think that's why we went to McDonald's.
Yeah, I was
by
just
the time
gonna
we
say.
were done with the lights, I was like, I have to piss so fucking bad, so we turned off on like the Tarzana McDonald's.
But then it became like a thing, and we did it every year. We went to the McDonald's and used the bathroom, and I remember we got a McRib because they do them at holiday time. Did you hear they're going to cancel the McRib?
They're not going to cancel the McRib. Like, people are so full of it.
They're saying it. They're like, this is it says on their menu thing, this is the last chance to have a bite of the McRib.
So it'll be gone for a year.
Maybe. It's like the enchilada. I was so
or
excited
the Mexican
they
pizza that they canceled.
Well, it was gone for a long time. The enchilada's been gone a long time at Taco Bell.
The enchilada really has been gone a long time. Like, I feel like the last time I remember getting an enchilada was like high school.
It's been, I don't remember when. Well, I was ordering it after they quit doing it. They would still make it for you if you requested it, and then eventually they were like, nah, we're not doing that at all.
They're like,
anymore,
over
lady.
it.
Yeah.
They're like, stop it. So, Bridget, what was your first New Year's Eve party at the mansion like?
It was, I mean, I had fun, but like we said earlier, it's the vibe at the New Year's Eve party is a little bit more softer than most parties, and it's not quite as crazy as some of the other ones, but it's still fun and it's still something to be at and do. So I was really excited about that because, you know, New Year's Eve is tricky. I was more excited like planning my outfits and stuff too.
Yeah, I remember that year I was trying to like sew a bunny costume and then have freaked out and said I couldn't wear a bunny costume to a party.
Oh.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that.
That you shouldn't probably wear a bunny costume to a party, but, you know, I was just having fun, you know, thinking about like dressing up and always being on theme as usual, but...
That reminds me, sorry, it's Halloween related, but I always wanted to be like a zombie bunny.
Well, didn't you do that after you left?
Yes.
Yeah, it was really cute.
I really wanted to be a zombie bunny, and Hef like pitched a fit and said, "No way, you cannot be a dead bunny."
But didn't he give you permission to do it later?
No, I just did it later.
Oh my
After
God,
I left the
what?
mansion, I did it.
Why, for some reason, do I have a fake memory in my head? Like, I felt like when you did, because you did it for like a Halloween party, right? After you left the mansion.
Yeah, in Vegas.
And it looked really cute. And for some reason, I felt like you got permission to do that. Why do I?
No, I got permission to do the Hef costume for my costume line.
That's probably what I'm thinking of.
But I didn't get permission to do the dead bunny because I knew he wouldn't let me.
You know what I did? After I left the mansion, I did a night at the Palms when they still had the Playboy Club. I was a bunny dealer for charity, and like any tips I got went to charity. And I had a new bunny costume made for that, a black one. And Angel covered it in Swarovski crystals, jet ones, and it is stunning.
That sounds
like, still to this day,
amazing.
stunning. It's my favorite thing. And then we were doing something for Angel on Holly's World where she was like modeling for the Playboy Club, and they had like a bunny costume for her to wear, and we were going to cover it in Crystal Volcano. Do you know the Crystal Volcano Swarovski crystal? If you guys don't know, it's like this purplish rainbow Swarovski.
Red
it's
and
so
orange.
pretty. And we were going to cover it with that, but somehow like somebody got wind of it and they're like, no, you can't do those rhinestone bunny costumes anymore.
Somebody from Playboy said it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Which I understand, like wanting to keep control over like a brand and a costume but the crystallized, like they weren't tacky. Like I hate it when people describe things that are covered with a nice Swarovski crystal as bedazzled.
Oh, because bedazzled to me means like those fake
Cheap.
rhinestone, cheap plastic ones.
Yeah.
When
and
it's Swarovski crystals, it is like practically diamonds.
Yeah, and back in the day, they used to sell a thing called a bedazzler, which was like this little staple gun thing that would put cheap plastic rhinestones on like a jean jacket or something.
Yeah.
But like when I'm talking about covering something with Swarovski crystals, I'm talking about like, I was always very inspired by like Dita Von Teese's costumes. And you would take a Swarovski crystal and you get it in many different sizes.
And colors.
So it's not just like big ones lined up. It's like every little area is covered with like, and it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks amazing. That's how the Barachi dresses were, too.
Yeah.
Just incredible. But anyway, I was super into my costume. Like, and I bedazzled. No, I'm just kidding. I Swarovski crystalled a bra, like blue and the white crystals, or clear crystals. And then I wore, and we use it later in the episodes, the blue and the blue little snow jacket with the white
outfit,
trim.
yeah.
That we use for ice skating later. But I bought it originally for this party.
I wore a peach sheer lingerie outfit that I bought on a store on Hollywood Boulevard. So it was super cheap. It was so cheap. I put a few crystals on it, but it was really pretty. I've always loved the look of like peach lingerie. It just has this very like 1930s old Hollywood
It
glamour
does
for
have
me.
a vintage look to it, that
But
color.
I remember when I went shopping for that, I got it at a store called Playmates on Hollywood Boulevard, which has nothing to do with Playboy. And I'm always surprised Playboy didn't like sue.
I used to
because
think
I
that
think
too.
it was like a store with like stripper clothes, and I feel like people probably thought it was related to Playboy, but it wasn't. And the store, I think the reason they didn't sue is the store was around first. Like the store got started in like the 30s.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was called Playmates. So I went there and I was shopping and I had a bunch of things in my arm. And I got what I call a psychic download. Like you just get like information and a voice in your head out of nowhere. And something told me, because I had a couple different outfits to look at and try on. And something told me, look inside the underwear of one of them. Because usually you would never think to do that. Because when you're shopping at a store, they have like those sanitary strips on the inside of like bathing suits.
I'm so
and
scared
stuff.
of what you're going to tell me right now.
I looked in, snail trail.
so gross.
So I abandoned that outfit.
Oh, they didn't have just another different pair of...
Well, it was like I grabbed just like, because everything was so cheap in there. I just grabbed like a bunch of stuff, and that was like one of the looks I was into.
You had already bought it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I had just had it in my hand as I was shopping, and something told me, look in the
Ew.
underwear. So I just like threw it away.
Oh my God.
Like on the ground.
That is so gross.
And got out of there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So bad. So now we're at Thanksgiving of 2003, and when I was looking at my photos from this Thanksgiving, we're still in the Mean Girls era. Crystal Camden lives there with us, and I was looking at the pictures, and the only thing I think was like, oh my God, I look wrecked. My hair was just so scraggly and damaged. And I think if other people looked at this picture, I'll put it on my Patreon. I don't think other people would necessarily look and be like, oh my God, what's wrong with her? But because it's me and I know myself, I'm looking at it and I just look strained and unhealthy. And like one of my eyes is kind of more open than the other eye. I just look wonky. And I think it's just the stress I was under at the time.
That is so interesting that you say that, because I look at so many pictures from Girls Next Door. I mean, yeah, from that, well, not even Girls Next Door, but just the whole time at Playboy. And I feel like my eyes look like they're pulling down underneath in so many pictures. And I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I don't think I see that.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, and I don't remember that before I was there. And I keep wondering to myself, like, why does my face look like that while I was there? Was it the stress that I was feeling from all the drama of the other girls? Because I feel like it gets better later on when we're doing Girls Next Door. Like, I don't have that, like, pulling down under my eyes type thing. But I just look so tired. And I mean, I know we're doing a lot of clubbing and a lot of partying, and there was a lot of stress. So I guess all of that really affects the way you look. I mean, of course it does, but it's crazy. Like, I look at these pictures and I'm like, I look weird.
It really is, because here I was in my early 20s, and in some ways my face looks weird and older than it does now. And it's definitely at the worst during that era. And I think it was just because, you know, here we were doing all these super late nights, drinking. Like, I personally was getting obliterated every time we went out, like wasted, and just all the stress we were under. Because at that point, we'd been living with the Mean Girls for like 2 years, and it was just so toxic. And I could see it in my face.
Yeah, I never made that correlation until you said that about your eye, and I was like, maybe that was what's wrong with my face. Like, what is wrong with me? Not in all the pictures. Some I think I look normal, but there's other ones where I really see this like pulling down, and I was like, I don't know why I look like that. Is it the way I was doing my makeup? Like, was I just really tired?
Yeah, I think it's stress.
Interesting.
And we would go sometimes to like cool holiday parties that Hef would get invited to. And the one I remember the most was Nicolas Cage's.
Wait, before we say that, can I talk about my leaf dress?
Yeah.
So for Thanksgiving, I decided I wanted something very fall, and there's not like a lot of fall outfits out there.
Yeah.
And so I made a leaf dress. I got like a nude, like, I don't know if you'd call it like a slip or like a nude dress, just like tank dress. And I covered it with like fall leaves. But these were really pretty fall leaves. Like they had gold glitter on them and stuff like that. And I just like covered the whole thing. And I put it on like a mannequin and I kept it there till everything was dry. And I wore that dress for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
or something. Like, I loved it. Every Thanksgiving I'd pull it out. I'd be like, oh, gotta get out my Thanksgiving dress.
It was very Thanksgiving. And we got to go to some cool like holiday parties that Hef would get invited to, and the one I remember the most was Nicolas Cage's, because he lived in this amazing house called the Firestone Mansion. Look it up. It's just like a beautiful home, and he had this tented party in the backyard, and it was the first time I'd ever went to a party that was like winter wonderland, where they have like the fake snow and like the little birch trees with the lights in them and stuff like that. It was so cool.
It was so beautiful. It was like everything you looked at was like a picture scene. Like with Instagram now, you would want to take 1,000,000 pictures in that. Yeah. That house was incredible. It was so nice. And I remember there was real snow. I was like, real snow. We're in LA.
Yeah, it was so cool. I'd never seen anything like it. Because now you see that decor quite a bit. Like people do it for weddings a lot.
Yeah.
But this was the first time I'd seen it.
Yeah, this was a while ago. I feel like it was before people were really doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And going all out like that.
So this next year, it was our second Christmas with the Mean Girls, and they had been so disappointed in our first Christmas that they decided that we should all make Christmas lists for each other so that when we bought each other gifts, we were at least getting people what they wanted. And I made up a list to give to everybody. And I remember two of the Mean Girls came into the master bedroom and asked me for my list, and I gave it to them. And they sat at the end of the bed and were like talking shit about my list and like looking at each other and rolling their eyes and smirking like right in front of me. And I didn't know what to do. Like now I would look at somebody and be like, is there a problem?
Yeah.
But back then I was so not confident and didn't know how to stand up to bullies. And I just couldn't believe they were doing that in front of my face, like as if I couldn't see them. That I just didn't know what to do. So after they walked out, I went to your room and was just kind of confiding in you about it. And I was like, I just can't believe. And I wasn't talking shit. I wasn't like, oh my God, and they were smirking their ugly ass faces at me. Like I wasn't saying anything like that. I was just like, I was just like, I don't know if I can take it here anymore. It's just one thing after the other. And all of a sudden, one of the Mean Girls comes barging into your room and is screaming at us because she was listening at the door.
She was eavesdropping.
And she was so outraged, and I don't even know why, because it's not like I was talking shit or saying mean things about them. I was just confiding in you about how mean they were being in front of my face, which they were.
Yeah.
And that's just an example of how, you know, I constantly felt like I always had to be on high alert at that place. And I think that's why I was so stressed. And even my face looks weird from the stress because you just never knew when you were being listened to or when you were going to get screamed at or when a cat fight was going to break out.
Yeah. I really wish, I mean, I know we've talked it to death about the Mean Girl era, but I really wish that we could like just let you feel what that felt like for 1 second. You know, how stressful it really, really was and how it just felt like there was not an out. Obviously, you can leave, obviously. But like I'm talking, but
you
let
feel
them
like,
win.
yeah,
And
you let them win and you already have so much invested in it. And it's just,
you feel stuck.
yeah, I wish I could make people feel what we felt too for a minute, just out of curiosity, because I know it probably doesn't sound relatable. But this wasn't just like, oh, there's a bully at work, so then you go home and live your normal life.
No,
it was like you're
24/7.
Surrounded by it 24/7, and you feel like the rug is going to get ripped out from under you because you might get kicked out on the street if one of them makes up a lie and Hef decides to believe it, and you're not ready to leave yet because you haven't saved enough money or something.
Yeah.
It just felt like do or die. So you had a really cute Christmas tree at the mansion.
Yeah, like you were saying before, the Christmas tree downstairs is a little underwhelming, and I love decorating the Christmas tree. It's like a tradition that I did, you know, every year, of course. So many people do. And I wanted to still do that, so I bought a fake Christmas tree, like, and a full one, too, like 7.5 feet tall, like full Christmas tree for my bedroom. And got all the candy ornaments and everything and decorated it. So I was super excited. And I remember Hef was like super anti fake trees. Because we kept trying to tell him that he should just get a fake tree. Because you know what they would do? They would get a real tree, and then to make it perfect, they would buy extra branches and cut off the bottom branches, and they would have to like wire them into the tree to make it a perfect tree in the living room. And I was just like, why is he doing all of that when he could just get a fake tree? Now I know some people are just like adamant it has to be a real tree, so I get that. But like, I didn't feel like that was what it was for him. He just thought that
fake trees were gross.
Yeah, fake trees were gross and didn't look real. And then he came in and he saw my tree and he could not believe that it wasn't real. And I'm like, yeah, fake trees have come a long way.
Yeah, because I tried to convince him to get a fake tree for a while because I really wanted to decorate the tree. And I just love Christmas decor, and I'm one of those obnoxious people that starts doing it. Well, I would say right after Thanksgiving, but I have been known to also have a year-round tree, so I guess that's even like not really where I'm at. But I wanted him to put up the tree earlier because with the real tree that the staff had to like construct, basically, he only put it up like a few days before Christmas. And I'm like, that's a waste. Because to me, it just seems like such a waste of effort to spend that much time on a tree and then it's only up for 2 days.
Well, they didn't want to put it up any earlier because it was a real tree, and they felt like it would get dry and be fire whatever. You know what I'm saying? Fire hazard. Yeah, fire damage. So they didn't want to set it up earlier, and we were like, no, the tree needs to be up like all of December.
Yeah, so he finally agreed to get a fake tree because of yours.
Yeah. which is great.
Yeah, but that didn't come until like the next year.
Oh,
until,
really?
Like,
I'm jumping ahead again?
no, not really. Well, the first year I got to decorate the tree was in 2004 after the Mean Girls left. And I just feel like for some reason after they got kicked out, it's just everything got easier at the mansion. I feel like if I would have tried to decorate a tree while they were still there, somehow they would have sabotaged it. Like they would have like let Archie into the room to ruin the tree, or they would have like stolen the ornaments, or they would have like told Hef it was stupid or something.
Yeah. Oh, well, they definitely would have, because, well, first of all, I wanted to say it makes sense that it was the year after, because he sees my tree this year and then the next year like does it early and gets the other tree and stuff. But going back to the other girls like making fun, they would have definitely balked about it being Disney themed.
Oh yeah, and balked about it. They would have, like, even though it was a great looking tree, like they would have been like, oh, you're getting a fake tree this year, just because they knew I asked for it. Like it would have just been like they would have made it their mission to like dog on the tree.
Yeah.
Which they made it their mission to like try and ruin my birthday that year, but they actually made it better by not showing up.
Yeah, they boycotted.
Yeah, because it was my birthday. We were going to Disneyland again, and they just decided not to go. All of them went on strike. They said, we're not going. And that might not seem like a big deal to like anybody listening, but when you lived like in that world, it was a big deal to like opt out of one of the other girlfriends' birthdays and to like not get them a present.
Well, because as much as we didn't like each other, we still were like a family that had to do everything together.
Yeah.
And so it would be like your sister or brother pouting and being like, I'm not going to her birthday.
Yeah, like even
And
the
literally
girls
not.
who were really mean to us, like we still had to go to their birthdays and get them a present and stuff. But they all decided to boycott my birthday, which in the end was amazing because that meant we could actually have a good time. But at the time, it just felt really shitty because I knew what they were trying to do. They were trying to band together and tell Hef I was the problem, basically. But luckily, he saw right through that. He was just like, okay, I see what they're doing. But we had a great time that day because they weren't there, and luckily Hef was in a really good mood. And it was days like that that kind of gave me hope. Like, people are always like, well, if you were so miserable, why'd you stay that long? And that's not really how it works in relationships, but it was days like those where I felt like, well, maybe things could be better, or he's not the problem, they're the problem, because look, we're having such a great day when they're not here.
Yeah. And we had so much fun. And we had a good group with us. Our friend Ashley came.
Yeah, and Crystal was there with us. Yeah, we had fun. We ate at the club again. We got to watch Fantasmic from the balcony of what is now like the 21 Royal Dream Suite, but back then it was a haunted art gallery, meaning real haunted, not fake Disney haunted, but actually haunted. But they let us onto that balcony that nobody got to go on, and we could watch the show from there, and it was just a really great day. And we went on the Winnie the Pooh ride, and it broke down. So they walked us, they had to like evacuate the ride and walk us out, but they let us like stop and take pictures with all the setups, which is cute.
And the pictures are so cute from that.
Especially because it was my birthday, and there's a whole birthday scene in there with like a birthday cake.
They are adorable. And then I'm going back to outfits again because I love to talk about what we wore for different things. But I always had to have like a cute, fun outfit for Christmas Eve, and then like a more elegant, beautiful outfit for Christmas Day. That was like my thing in my head.
Yeah, and the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day that year, it was just like the height of the tension between us and the Mean Girls. Like you can see it in the group photos because it's like me, you, and Crystal on one side, and then the Mean Girls on the other, and one of the Mean Girls is refusing to smile. And like sometimes I'll see old pictures of myself and I look like I have a really bitchy face on, but I know what I was trying to do. Like I was trying to look sultry and failing or something like that. Like I've seen pictures. No, this wasn't it. Like every single snapshot of us doing the group picture, she just has this miserable ass look on her face, and it's very purposeful.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it was just like really awkward. And that was the year, I saw a picture from that year where it was like me, you, Crystal, Audra, and Stacy in the picture. And I'm like, I think I put it up on the Patreon before, and I'm like, that should have been the group. Like, we would have had so much fun if it was just us living there.
We would have had a blast. You know, one thing I love, too, about about Christmas and stuff is when I got my stocking. All the stockings had the girls' names embroidered on it.
Yeah, that was cute.
And I was like so excited that I had a stocking like hanging on Hef's mantle. And he had a big fireplace in the bedroom. You probably never noticed it because there's so much crap in front of it. But at Christmas time, they actually hung a stocking for each of us in there on that mantle. And And they had our names embroidered on it, and I just thought that was so cool. And I thought we would get to keep them, but we didn't.
Yeah, that's weird, because they snatched them back.
Yeah.
Which was odd, because rarely did someone last longer than a year, especially in the early days. So it was weird that they were kind of assuming that the girls would be back. I mean, there was that era with the Mean Girls where we're like, why the fuck is no one leaving? It was like everybody was just kind of standing their ground. But when I first moved in, and before then, what I had witnessed before then, it was like a turnover.
I was going to say it was a revolving door,
yeah,
but
for
not
sure.
when we got there.
I know. It was like everybody was just standing their ground. So we kind of got better presents for each other that year because we'd all made the Christmas lists. But did Hef get us better presents than the year before? I don't remember.
I think just slightly. I think that there was like some Sephora stuff maybe. I just remember this I keep saying Sephora stuff because I keep remembering this like
They had like cute like gingerbread bath packets, like gift sets.
Yes, and it was by Philosophy. I remember one of them was, and so we got like this whole gift set. So we got like some holiday gift set stuff from Sephora, and like a lot of Playboy stuff. I feel like.
I think that was the year they tried to get Hef to give them the gold and diamond bunny necklace, but I don't think he did.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so. I remember I wore this outfit. It was like a jumper, a red jumper. I think I wore it for Christmas Eve, and it had this matching headband that was like sequin, and it had like holly on it and stuff. And I bought it as a movie auction. It was from the movie Sugar and Spice, where they did this dance
that's
routine.
cute.
And I thought it was so cool to have like a piece of movie memorabilia.
No, I love collecting stuff like that. It's so cute.
And then I found this dress for Christmas Day. It was like a white strapless gown, and it was kind of like a mermaid gown. It was like really tight until it got to like the knee, and then it like flared out, and it had like red poinsettias like embroidered, and like with like little like the bugle beads like sparkly on it.
It was really pretty. It reminds me of like a holiday Barbie.
Yes,
it was very holiday Barbie.
Everybody was like, "Oh my God, you're so holiday Barbie!" And I love that dress. Like I think I wore it 2 years in a row because it was so amazing.
Yeah, it's cute.
So this New Year's Eve was the year of the 50th anniversary party, and so I was still very much on 50th anniversary of Playboy, and I wore this gold. It was like a gold faux leather like mini skirt and like bra top, like swimsuit bra top kind of thing, and I embellished it with like rhinestone or Swarovski crystal, I should say, Playboy bunnies, and
you bedazzled
and
it. Let's
be
real.
I bedazzled it. I got my little stamper, and so yeah, I wore that to that party. I remember having a lot of fun at that party.
Yeah, it was weird because it was still like the mean girl, because it was the seesaw. It was like if they were in a good mood, we were in a bad mood, and for some reason that night they were all like sour. Like they all just, even in the pictures, they just have nasty looks on their faces. They're all wearing like boring black dresses, and me and you were in like silver and gold, and we're like having fun.
Yeah, I remember having a lot of fun.
So I don't know how we got lucky that night, but also it was a bummer because that was when Crystal moved out.
Yeah, it was her last night.
I was so bummed when she moved out. I felt like she was like leaving us to the wolves.
I did too.
And I was like, how can you abandon us? Which is like, I totally get why she would want to leave because it was so toxic. But at the time I felt like you're abandoning us.
And I felt like I especially felt it because we shared a room and stuff. So like I was losing my roommate too, and somebody I confided in, and she confided in with me all the time. And I knew she was still going to come back, but it wasn't going to be the same. Like she was moving to San Diego.
Yeah.
Which isn't so far where you can't come all the time, but it's far enough to where you're not there all the time.
Yeah.
It's like impossible.
Every day.
So, that was really sad. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucked. So between that year and the next year of holidays, the Mean Girls move out, so everything changed. Like the atmosphere at the mansion, everything changed, everything got better for the most part. And that was the year I finally convinced Tef to get a fake tree, and I finally got to decorate it, and I just loved decorating that tree. And I would do this every year. I don't know why. The music I put on was like Rat Pack Christmas, and I would always order chicken strips and iced tea. For some reason, like that was my thing when I decorated the tree, and I would order it every year.
Chicken nuggies.
Yeah, chicken nuggies. And I just loved decorating that tree. And I remember Hef was like, you can only do it if you put one piece of tinsel on every single strand.
Oh my God, I forgot about
And I was like,
tinsel thing.
that is psychotic. Like first of all, this was like huge tree. Because like the tree was so thick, I was like, there's no way. Like you would be here for 5 days putting one strand of tinsel. but I was able to kind of fudge it because like the ribbons I chose had like kind of sparkles in them, and like a lot of the ornaments were sparkly. So when the lights were turned on, the tree just kind of glowed. So I did put some tinsel on there, and he was tricked. He was like, "Oh yeah, that looks great. That's amazing. Like I'm really impressed with the tinsel." And I'm like, "Whew," because I don't know if I could have done the one strand on every branch.
I know. Well, I feel like you were like, "Do you want to come help me do tinsel?"
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. So I did as much as I could, and then he came down and saw, "Oh, this looks great," and I was like, "Whew."
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God. But other than that, I love doing the tree, and I kept the color scheme very classic. It was just like red, blue, green, gold, because that's kind of what matched the room. And I kind of wanted it to be very classic Christmas because, you know, he was a kid in the 30s, so I kind of wanted it to like coordinate with that a little bit. And then I put like my Disney ornaments on there, but they look cute and they blended in with the tree. But here's what's weird. So I'm going through my scrapbook, and I remember my tree being awesome. And I remember like all of Hef's friends were complimenting me on it and saying how much better it was than the original tree and stuff. And they weren't people who blew smoke up my ass. Like if I sucked at something, they were not going to tell me it was good. But then I'm looking at pictures of it, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to put these pictures on Patreon because it does not translate.
Oh, I'm having that same thing. I'm making my own Christmas tree skirt right now, and I am so proud of myself. Like, it looks so cute, and there's so many little details. Like, I am hand putting on each tiny little bead and stuff like that, and it looks amazing, and it's so sparkly and so cute and so pretty. But I feel like when I take pictures of it, it just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, it's not the same. Like, I'm looking at these pictures of the tree, and I'm like, this is fucked up. Like, I would never leave that much blank space on a tree now. Like, to me, it looks like the Spode China tree. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like the Spode plates that have that traditional Christmas tree. And I was going for a really traditional look with that tree on purpose. I wasn't trying to do modern at all. But it just does not translate to photos. I just remember that tree kind of like having a life of its own. Like, it was just so sparkly and warm and everything. And the pictures just do not do it justice.
Well, I will say that the packing of the trees, like how trees are so packed with ornaments now, like you don't even see the tree. That's like a newer thing people are doing.
That's true.
Like it wasn't so common back then.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a thing for sure.
So I feel like, and I don't necessarily love that packing of the tree like that. Like I feel like you should still see that it's a Christmas tree, not just the shape of one.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember, is this 2004 we're in right now?
Yes.
Because I should mention for Thanksgiving, too, that year, my grandpa died. And just before Thanksgiving. So he died on November 22nd, and I think Thanksgiving was like November 24th or something that year. And his birthday is November 26th, or would have been, or however you want to say that. And so he died, so I flew home, and we couldn't do the funeral right away because it's Thanksgiving. So, we have to do it after. And so I think his funeral was actually on his birthday, but I had to stay home. Well, I didn't have to, but obviously I'm going to. I went home on November 22nd, the day he died, and then I was home for Thanksgiving with my family, which was like really hard to do with Hef and stuff. And then I remember when I came back, I asked to go home for something after that, not long after that, probably maybe something prior to the holiday for like Christmas or something, or maybe something right after the New Year. And he said, I can't believe you're asking me to go home again. I let you go home for your grandpa's funeral. And I was like, I just felt like I'd been slapped in the face.
It's disgusting to me. Like, I remember you telling me that story kind of recently. Like, I'm not sure I knew about it at the time that he said that to you. And even though I have dealt with a lot of Hef moments like that, that was still shocking to me. And I was like, what the fuck? He let you go home for your grandpa's funeral?
Yeah,
like,
and
fuck off.
I remember when I first went home the day he died, I didn't know when the funeral was going to be yet because he just died that day. So I was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it on Friday after Thanksgiving, or if we have to wait till the weekend, or I don't know like when it's going to be. I'll let you know. And then it turns out it wasn't going to be until Saturday, so I was going to be there for Thanksgiving and stuff, and it turned into like being gone for like almost well, not quite a week, but probably like 5 days or something, which is a long time for Hef. Like you can't be gone that long. Mm-hmm. You can be gone like 3 days, 4 days, but if you're gone for 5 days or more, I mean, he acts like you might as well just move out, like you don't care about him anymore or something.
And it's just ridiculous because obviously it's special circumstances, but also you had been there for like a couple years at that point. You'd never like misbehaved or done anything you weren't supposed to do. Like, why were we never allowed to earn any trust? It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And it's so sad to me that he had to like ruin things like that, because I'm looking at pictures from that Thanksgiving when you were gone, and I see pictures of like me and Kendra, and we both look so happy. And I can tell when I look at my scrapbooks if it's like a fake smile for the camera, which it was most of the time, or if I'm really happy. And I remember you were gone and we were babysitting Gizmo. So we took Gizmo out of the room and we were like taking him down to the Thanksgiving table and taking pictures so we could give him to you and take pictures of Gizmo outside the room. And just, it was just such a good little moment in time where like everybody was getting along, we were doing nice things for each other. And then Hef has to come with the, I let you go home.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah, and I was always hesitant to call him when I was gone for his death too, because I was just like, oh God, is he gonna be pissed that they didn't do the funeral yet? Like, it's out of my control.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah. But I remember it being, other than that, like a really fun time, and I like there was like cool things that happened too. Like, there's a group, I don't know if anybody listening to this would even know who this is, but it was called the Manhattan Transfers, and I probably wouldn't even know what this group was either, except for my parents used to like to listen to some of their music, and I wrote down, just in case you guys want to know who they are, they are a Grammy Award-winning vocal group founded in 1969 that explored a cappella vocalese? I don't know how you say that. Vocalese? Listen, whatever. Swing, standards, Brazilian jazz, rhythm and blues, and pop music. And they came and did like a private concert like at the mansion. It was like just like a Christmas party, and they redid the living room, so it was like little cocktail tables, like a jazz lounge type thing. And I remember it being so much fun and thinking how cool it was and how my parents would love to be at this event and like see this and stuff. And I just thought we get to do some really cool, fun things.
It was very cozy.
Mm-hmm. It was so holiday. They did all Christmas carols and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just really, really cool.
Do you remember the creepy bear?
Yes, that sat on the bench.
Yeah, so there, other than like the garlands and the tree, there weren't like a lot of like superfluous Christmas decorations at the mansion, but there were a couple like Christmas stuffed animals they would set on the bench in the Great Hall, and one of them was a big teddy bear, and he moved, but it was weird. He would just kind of move his head like this really slowly.
It moved so slow that you almost thought it didn't seem right. Like, you had to like look again and be like, wait, did that bear just move? And you're like, oh yeah, it is moving. Scary.
Yeah, if you can see the video on Patreon, I'm doing it right now. And it was just like this creepy, like vacant-eyed teddy bear that would like move really slow. Did it play music?
Not that I know of. It just moved its head.
So, it was so strange, and just not in a way that was like cute. It was just kind of like creepy and weird and like broken toy-ish. It was really weird.
I remember too that Barry Gordy, if you guys know who he is, I'm like pulling out some people from the past, but like he's like a music producer guy.
He started Motown.
Yeah, and he's good friends with Hef, and he we went to his Christmas party too, which was amazing at one point. But every year his wife and him would get Hef this amazing flower arrangement for Christmas, and this flower arrangement,
the gingerbread.
Yes, this floral arrangement was just gigantic, and it was amazing. Like, I was so inspired by these. Every year I'd be like, did the Gordy's like arrangement come in? Because like I want to see it. And it had these 2 gingerbreads in it, and they sang "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," and I fell in love with these gingerbreads so much. And it has let me borrow them at first, and I put them by my tree in my room. But he didn't let me have them at first. Eventually, I think he gave them to me, right?
Well, no, one of the mean girls, I think, took the gingerbread. Well, first of all, okay, did one gingerbread come with the arrangement, or did both?
I thought both did. I thought 2 did.
I wish we had better photo documentation of that, because why do I feel like there was one gingerbread and later we found out there was a girl version made and got the girl? Because
that could be.
Like, I feel like you and like the worst mean girl like both wanted that gingerbread, and she got the first one or something.
Ew.
Like, you borrowed it for a minute, then she kept whining about the gingerbread, and she got the gingerbread, and then you found the gingerbreads on eBay. Like that, I feel like
I think you found the gingerbreads on eBay and you got them for me for Christmas.
Okay, that's probably what it was.
And then later in life, like after I left the mansion, I was like, you know what? I want more of those gingerbread.
Yeah.
And I went on and I found more on eBay. Not very many, but there was like, I was able to get like 4 more.
There's something about these gingerbreads. They're just like extra cute. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And it might be one of those things where a photo doesn't do it justice, so I don't want to like build it up. But they were so cute, and they sang a song, and they like would bob around.
Yeah, they move their head back and forth,
thing.
and they sing. And one's a boy and one's a girl, and they sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." Like, if you push the buttons at the same time, they sing it in unison.
Yeah,
You gotta push them right at the same time, though. But they're really, really cute. Anyway, but that's how I found out about them. They came in that Berry Gordy like arrangement. That was amazing.
Berry Gordy was Kris Jennering before Kris Jenner was Kris Jennering. Because you know she always has like the gingerbread houses and like the stuff she sends.
Can we talk about those for a second?
Those are from Solvang Bakery.
Are they really?
Solvang, yeah.
They're the cutest thing ever.
Which I don't know. My mind, like, who delivers those? I mean, I guess things get delivered every day, but when I think of a gingerbread house, they just seem so fragile, and they have to take those gingerbreads all the way from Solvang to Calabasas. That just seems like a feat.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah, there's a whole gingerbread store in Solvang, and they do like Valentine's gingerbread houses, and they put like your name, and it's really cute.
I didn't even know, and I've been to Solvang multiple times. I don't even know about the gingerbread store.
I think they do special ones for her, or like ones that kind of look like their houses a little bit.
It's cute. I'm super jealous of that. I want one.
They're really cute.
I want one, and I want to do it for other people because I think it's just the cutest thing ever. And we used to do cookie nights. Speaking of gingerbread, we used to do cookie nights at the mansion.
The mystery of cookie night. So cookie night, I don't remember the first year I got involved with it, if it happened the first year or the second year I was there. But one of Half Sex girlfriends, Brandy Roderick, started this cookie night. So it was something I took over. And I was told the cookies were being made for orphans. Like, you made the cookies and dropped them off at an orphanage. And Brandy stopped by like the first time I did it. But then she left, and I tried to get in touch with her, and I'm like, where did you drop the cookies off? And then it got back to me through like 5 other people, because this was before people were texting. And it was like, the orphanage. So I'm calling like every possible orphanage, child shelter. They're like, we can't take homemade cookies, because that's like unsanitary. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't accept homemade cookies. So I'm like, where were they taking these cookies? I was so confused.
I have no idea.
So Brandy, if you're out there, help us solve the mystery of like the cookies. But eventually we just didn't take them anywhere. It was like, we just made them for fun.
We did do them for the troops, though, too.
That's coming up in episode 6.
Oh, so I'll save it. Save that story. Zip it.
But cookie night was fun, and I remember the first year it was really fun. Of course, was this year 2004, because like the Mean Girls are gone. We're like making friends with more of the playmates.
Yeah. And we really liked each other, so presents got better. Like, we actually wanted to get things people really wanted and really loved.
Yeah, like we were excited. Like, oh, Kendra likes sports. Let's see what cool sports shit they make. You know?
I remember getting her all kinds of stuff from the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Diego Chargers, because she liked both those teams. I got her so much shit from that.
And over the years, like, I'm kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but over the years, those presents from Hef got better. Because I think because we were on the show and he saw us more as, like, assets, it's like, oh, I'm going to get them really good gifts this year. So, like, we got some good shit moving forward. Yeah,
so things just, like, really got better after this point. Like, just in every aspect. I mean, even, I know I've been talking about outfits so much, but even the outfits, like, this New Year's outfit that I wore, I loved so much. For you guys listening, it's a white, I had this white, like, ice outfit, I would call it,
cute.
Made, but Trashy made the base of it, so it was, like, white, sparkly, long sleeve. It kind of had, like a Tinkerbell skirt part to it. It was all corseted. And then, but I decorated it with these, like, glass icicles all over it, and cool. Like, Swarovski crystals and stuff, and it was so amazing. The only thing I don't like about myself that night is my makeup, because we tried to go, like, icy and frosty, and with the flash and stuff, I feel like it just looks
didn't
bad.
Translate.
No,
I think the theme of this episode is shit that doesn't translate to photos, because we're hitting up against a lot of it.
Yeah.
Our Patreon album is going to be a mess this week, guys.
Things that were cool and real, but just don't translate to camera.
Yeah, you guys are going to be looking at the pictures like, what are you guys talking about? You're janky.
Yeah, like, that's okay, but I've seen better.
Yeah, I look at pictures from New Year's Eve of 2005 and I'm like, I look so much more relaxed. Like, I'm just like, I'm okay making goofy faces for the camera. I'm dancing around with Ray Anthony. Like, it's just like the vibe of that place changed, which is another thing when people ask, well, why did you stay so long? There was a period of time where things were getting better.
Yeah.
So you had hope, because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, maybe things could, get better. But
There were times where things were really good. Like, I have lots of good memories. Well, I think we went extra long today. I mean, we're almost at like 2 hours of episode.
Yeah, our Patreon video is going to be really long. I'm going to try to cut this down so it's a little smoother for the regular. But you guys watching this video, you're getting the whole thing.
Yeah. And we hope you guys have an amazing holiday. We should let you know that we are taking a little time off for the holidays, so there will not be a new episode for December 26th or January 2nd.
Yeah, we might drop a little bonus thing here and there just to pop in and say hi. But officially, we don't have new episodes for 2 weeks. So we will see you back like the second Monday of January.
Yeah, I think it's January 9th
Yeah.
for a special episode. But we wish you all happy holidays.
Have an amazing holiday, however you're celebrating. We
And-
hope.
Yeah, super happy New Year.
Yeah.
Have fun. Don't drink and drive. What else?
Let us know what kind of cool things you think of to do on New Year's Eve, because we're looking to change these traditions up.
Yeah, let us know if you would want to do a party with us on New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.